Announcing the commencement of the first purge.
I want you to change the world, and don't think that this is going to happen peacefully or you can do it alone. We need to kill the rich. You get out there, you use your weapons, and you rip Washington apart. You hunt down the billionaires, the bank bosses, the CEOs, the scumbags and the liars, the governors, the lobbyists, the senators, because they're all the same, and you hang them.
Just remember all the good the purge does.
Good morning, everyone. It's June 24th, 2018. I'm Eric. Trump melts down as man holds up photo of him and billionaire pedophile Jeffrey Epstein at a rally. This comes from Jack Burns. As the old adage goes, where there is smoke, there is fire. This week, a man attending a rally for President Trump in Minnesota held up a sign with a photo of Trump and one of his close friends from the past, convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein, and Trump's reaction is incredibly notable. And the image, which included the caption, "Where is Jeffrey Epstein?" was apparently too offensive for Trump, and who told security to get him out of here. Go home to your mom, darling. Go home. Get him out of here. Out. Well. At Mr. Trump's Minnesota rally, a protester held up a pic of Epstein and Trump with the words, who is Jeffrey Epstein. I think they kind of fucked up there, but nonetheless, you get the point here, right? Trump's friendship with Epstein goes back years, and Trump has a history of speaking with admiration for the billionaire pedophile in interviews. "I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy," Trump said. "He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it, Jeffrey enjoys his social life." But, the president's not a pedophile, right? Oh, Donald Trump. He wouldn't do such a thing, right? Let me, okay. I'm looking for a particular headline here. Yeah. Well, in the last, last couple weeks, there's been this artificial outrage over immigrant children being torn from the arms of their mothers. Although this is true, I'd like to point out that this has been going on for quite some time now. It didn't start with Mr. Pedophile Donald Trump. No. It started long ago. And it just simply continued under the other presidents. Now, Donald Trump recently put out an executive order that keeps the children and the parent together. Well, isn't that nice of them? They get locked up together. And that's what it really boils down to. Now, do you really think people should be going to prison for trying to get here? I would rather see them just simply turned away. They don't have to separate people. All they have to do is tell them, get the fuck out of here, go home. But the left, mostly women on the left, those whores, those sluts that like to take a pounding, but They cannot stand the idea of having children as a consequence. That's why I call them whores and sluts, because that's what they are. They're a bunch of whores and sluts that want to kill their babies when they do whorish, sluttish things. Moving on. Now we have a Democratic Senate candidate, Jerome Siegel's ad, which tries to normalize pedophile and bestiality. And by the way, this guy is a Jew. Alright, oh, it's right there on the right there on the picture. Jerome Siegel, 74, is a Democratic primary candidate for the U.S. Senate in Maryland on June 22, 2018, and Mosgalia, a writer for Lawyerist.com, tweeted that Siegel paid at least $25,464 for a campaign ad in the Washington Post. Siegel begins the ad by identifying himself as a socialist. He then asks his potential voters a series of bizarre, politics unrelated, sequitur questions on pedophilia and bestiality. Then listen to this shit. Do you ever stare at a picture of a naked child? Full frontal? Did it bring about emotions, ones that might have surprised you? Did you ever watch TV, or did you ever watch a video of a three-way between two men, one white, one black, and a big dog? One a big fella, and the other kind of slender. What the fuck? And did you feel strange emotions? Did it come easily back to your mind? Siegel then asks, do you ever find yourself in close proximity to someone very different? Someone you might never want to be seen with. Someone whose raw physical needs were right there on the surface. Did you, or did it both make you want to run away and make you want to reach out your hand? He then assured the reader that those pedophile and bestiality feelings are completely natural. Don't worry. These reactions sometimes happen to all of us. It doesn't mean you are a socialist. The rest of his long, rambling campaign ad is about socialism and capitalism. So, you know, hang this guy, basically, is the moral of the story. Anyway, moving on. Israeli Prime Minister's wife, Sarah Netanyahu, indicted for fraud. Why does this not surprise me? She's Jewish, after all. But the right is all outraged over this bitch's indictment. The left is all outraged over something that's been going on for quite some time now. Doesn't make it right, but it has been going on for some time, and they're accusing the wrong fucking people of doing it. Or starting it. Now, how do we know this was going to happen? Pope Francis avoids arrest as child sacrifice canceled. A planned satanic black mass ninth circle child sacrifice ritual scheduled for summer solstice midnight, June 21st, was believed canceled after Pope Francis avoided arrest that same day in Bergoglio. Was with his bodyguards on his way to address the World's Council of Churches in Geneva, Switzerland, when 4 squad members from the International Common Law Court of Justice detained the Pope, read him an arrest warrant, placed him in restraints, and attempted to escort him to a pre-arranged secure location. Pope Francis appeared shocked and immobilized as a scuffle broke out, and Vatican security personnel assaulted the 2 team members, restraining him. The 2 ICLCJ operatives received severe beatings, while the 4 team members withdrew according to tactical protocol. As the 2 accosted were held at gunpoint by the Vatican security personnel, Bergoglio was released and rushed towards a waiting vehicle. So, dickhead Pope Francis, pedophile Pope Francis, he escaped being held. How do we know that would happen, though? Yeah. Alright, last one here. Who do dictators murder first? And this comes from Dave Hodges. How do dictators like Kim, Hitler, Stalin, or Mao increase or maintain their power while eliminating dissent over their people? Dictators maintain control through fear. Psychologists and sociologists who study totalitarianism say dictators are able to spread fear among their people, often through false flags, and place themselves as their only salvation. In short, they are experts at manufacturing an internal threat. Hitler was the master of this, as he presented the Jews as the major threat to Germany, and, of course, who could forget the infamous Reichstag fire. This helps keep a society off balance and collectively paranoid as well. False flag events become an important part of a dictator's strategy, as we witnessed on 9/11. Now, don't make no mistake about it, people. We do live under a dictatorship. It's called a left-right dictatorship, where they're dictated either by an insane left or an equally insane right. You have no choice in between. False flags, the manufactured 9/11 event psychologically placed America in a position to trade liberty for perceived security. What we did after 9/11 was to sow the seeds of our own destruction through the establishment of a police state surveillance grid in which the clandestine apparatus of the government watches everything you do as managed by the deep state. The creation of the MIAC report was a fear-mongering tactic. It shifted America's fear of anything from the Middle East to the newly invented domestic terrorist. According to DHS, which was molded after the East German Stasi, the new domestic terrorist possessed traits which were coincidentally identical to anyone who might oppose a totalitarian regime. According to the MIAC report, if you were a member of the following, you were a domestic terrorist. Number 1, a Ron Paul supporter. Number 2, a constitutionalist. Number 3, a Christian. And number 4, a supporter of the Second Amendment. Do you that's a terrible sentence. Do you, I need go further? No. Do I need go further? The MIAC further identified terrorist was pictured in DHS target practice sheets. Who could forget these? Now, these were actually being used by DHS. I don't know if they still are, but they were back then, a couple years ago, as practice targets. You know, pregnant woman, child, old bat. The MIAC report answered the question on who gets taken to FEMA camps first to a large extent. The globalists are taking out the eyes and ears of the people. The globalists rightfully blame the independent media for getting Trump elected and delaying their takeover of the country. Now the social media giants of Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter are dismantling the independent media, one broadcaster, one writer, one activist at a time. Trump gave the country a chance to become a nation of activists and said, we are a nation of slacktivists. Google is the biggest threat to the republic in existence because they are limiting so much of the free flow of information. This is a classic totalitarian strategy. Of course, this man does not understand that Donald Trump is part of that totalitarianism. With the ongoing takedown of the independent media, they say Alex Jones, Paul Watson, Lisa Haven, and himself went about high-impact flicks. But what about me? Here's the bottom line, people. I got banned before I even got to 1,000 fucking subs. In my opinion, that says what I'm talking about is what we should be talking about. I mean, before 1,000 fucking subs. I was, 250 away from 1,000. And they fucking wiped my channel out. Is because what I'm saying, what I'm telling you, is true. What I'm telling you is right. And they cannot have you listening to me. The Rip Van Winkles of this country, well, nobody to awaken them from their slumber for the final battle. Within 6 to 12 months, the eyes and ears of the people will likely be all but gone. The people will never know what hit them, and They certainly will not have a centralized rallying point from which to organize against this planned and final takeover. Some have asked me, why don't the globalists just take over right now all at once? The main answer to that question is that the globalists are too busy plundering the resources and the labor of the people. That is not cost effective to stop at the present moment. When the last bit of blood has been squeezed from the last turnip, the end will come swiftly. According to psychologist Alice Locasero, I think, a leading researcher on leadership and terrorism, dictators come in all sizes, but basically, genocidal dictators rule with the practical tools of promoting fear and controlling of information. According to Gerald Post, director of the political psychology program at George Washington University, Post has studied the hyper-control methods used to upend the existing order of a nation, and the subsequent Arab Spring revolt swept away despots in Tunisia, Egypt, Libya, and some of the Gulf states. Exemplify this principle. Some wonder why I'm so concerned about social media's extreme censorship. I am, because these Arab Spring revolts that were encouraged in large part by information spread by cell phones and most of by censored and controlled media. Controlling information and controlling dissent are part of what goes into maintaining a totalitarian state. If you are a spreader of truth through dissent, you have a deep state bullseye on your back. Anyway, I thought I would share this with you because the day of days is coming. Are you ready for it? I hope so, because you're going to need to be. We have a president that's connected to a convicted pedophile. We have another president that's connected to the same convicted pedophile. We have a former presidential candidate that's connected to this same convicted pedophile. We have the left making a big deal, I guess virtue signaling is the word, over immigrant children being caged in internment camps, yet they failed to realize that it's been going on for quite some time now. This didn't just happen under Donald Trump. Then we have this freak, Jerome Siegel, who wants to normalize bestiality and, of course, pedophilia. You know what I say? Hang the motherfucker. And, of course, we have Israeli Prime Minister's wife, Sarah Netanyahu, indicted for fraud, and the right are all in tears about it. Tommy Lauren, I mean, let me tell you, I'll give the right this. most of them don't believe in chopping up a little baby in the mother's womb and sucking them out. And Tommy Lauren is one of them. But their sycophantic support for anything Israeli is almost as bad. Pope Francis avoids arrest, of course. You know what I say? Hang the motherfucker, right? That's what should happen. And, of course, lastly, we have who do dictators murder first. And it is people like me. People who watch my channel. And about a handful or two of other types. And the American people continue to slumber, continue to be weak, continue to be comfortable. When's it going to end? I hope everyone has a great day. And remember, kill the state before the state kills you.